What is going on, everybody? So when we first made the plan to start going full-time RVing, it was a bit of a shock to us. I grew up camping my whole life, and a lot of what I did was tent camping, typically on like BLM. I was used to paying little to nothing for camping, so when we started planning out this whole route for our year-long trip, it was a bit of a shock when I started looking at the prices of like RV resorts and stuff like that, which is the main thing that you find when you're searching on Google. So you hear a lot of people talk about how life on the road is more expensive even than maintaining a house, and I found that really hard to believe. So we started really digging in and seeing what we could find for cheap or free or discounted at least sites. And fortunately, we were able to find a ton of resources out there to be able to find cheap or in a lot of cases free spots for our RV. So much so that we've got about 90% of our trip planned out now, and I would say about 75% of the places we're going to be staying this next year are actually completely free or a very, very low cost each night to stay there. So I'm going to go ahead and run you through the apps and websites that we're using in order to find all these heavy, heavy discounts, because I think life like this should be available for everybody. And if you don't have the resources, it's hard to see yourself doing this. So let's go ahead and dig into these and get you on the road. So the first one we're going to dig into is one called Boondockers Welcome, or Harvest Host. They used to be two separate apps, but they've combined now. Harvest Host bought out Boondockers Welcome. They are still two separate subscriptions, but they're kind of hosted together. Boondockers Welcome has been by far the biggest resource for us in finding places to stay. Think of it kind of like an Airbnb, but for RVs. People can host at their house if they have extra acreage or a spot where an RV can be. They list their property there, and you can stay there anywhere from 1 to 5 days. Amenities varies from host to host, obviously. Some people have water hookups, some people have sewage hookups, electric, all that. There's some that don't have any. Obviously, it varies based on the size of your RV, and just there's a lot of things you can filter out on this one. The big thing is, though, every place you stay is free. A little caveat to that is if you're using hookups at their location, they may ask you for a nightly fee to use the hookups, such as water, sewage, and electric. Typically, it's anywhere between $5 and $15 a night, which is still just incredible compared to staying at any sort of a campground even, or a RV resort, anything like that. So let's go ahead and dig into this. I'll show you how this whole website works. Like I said, this has been our absolute main resource. I'd say about 75% of our trip has been planned out using Boondockers Welcome. We'll dig into the functionality of it, and then I'll talk about the pricing and everything on it at the end here. On your dashboard here, you just go to Find Hosts, and that's going to pull up, basically starts you in the center of the United States here, and you can zoom out. You can see there's just a ton of locations all over the country. And what you want to do is you want to go over here to Preferences, and all this is available on an app as well. I typically use the app. I thought for showing you guys it might be a little bit better to have the website pulled up here. But you can search through, you can click your different preferences if you're wanting ones with water and electric, if you want to be able to run a generator, all that. You can filter by size, and then obviously you have here, you got your pets allowed, slide outs allowed. I'm going to put slide outs allowed because our trailer won't do much if we don't have the slide outs. Can't really sleep in it. So, and then you just click over and you look at what's available here. We'll close those preferences. And let's go ahead and take a look at Florida, since that is one of the top destinations for RVers. And you can see there are places all over around here. Let's just click on one for an example right here. So we've got the South Florida Stopover. So it has up to a 30-foot rig and a max of 2 nights. Go ahead and take a look at it here. And you see here just a little bit of specs. Here's a little introduction to who's hosting you. And then here's the amenities. Looks like they've got a 30 amp hookup, a water hookup, space for a separate towing vehicle. So then what you want to do, if you see they've got electric and water hookup, what you want to do is search to see if they are charging for those hookups. Typically it'll be right up top there, so I don't see, unless it was in their description here, I don't see that they're actually charging for their hookups, which is somewhat rare. Typically, if you're going to be using power and water, they charge you for it since they're getting charged for it, but it looks like that they're not charging. So there you go. There's a free 2-night stay there with hookups for your RV. The amount of money it can save you is ridiculous. You can literally find places anywhere in the country. You can plan an entire countrywide vacation and never pay for a single night by just going from boondocker to boondocker. So if we're talking cost on Boondockers Welcome, you're looking at $50 a year for just the Boondockers Welcome side. There is also the Harvest Host side as well. That would be an additional fee. I personally don't use the Harvest Host. A lot of what that is, in case you're not familiar with it, is it'll be like your wineries, your museums, golf courses, places like that. Typically, you can only stay one night at those places. We try to avoid overnight stays if possible, just because we don't like to do that much moving. When we settle in a place, we want to settle in a place for 5 days or more, so we're not constantly driving the RV. So for us, it wasn't really worth buying the Harvest Host side of things. It may be for you. The other thing is we don't drink, so staying on a winery, it doesn't benefit them like it does other people, because typically they expect you, if you're staying at these places, you're going to go in and you're going to, try wines and spend some money at those locations. That's why they are willing to host you for free overnight. The other thing with Boondockers Welcome, as of recording this right now, the price is $50 a year. Now that price they've announced is going to go up starting May of 2022. So if you're watching this before May of 2022, now is the time to sign up. The price will be going up. But even if it does go up after that, the amount of savings you will have far exceeds the cost of this thing per year. As the current cost, $50 a year, if you consider not having to stay at an RV resort or an RV park or even just a standard campground, they're very typically anywhere from $30 to $150 a night. So by booking one 5-night stay at any one of these Boondockers, you have more than paid for the cost of the membership of Boondockers Welcome at just one location. I mean, you look at us, we're taking a year-long trip around the entire country. We've got, 20 different Boondockers sites planned out for us. So the amount of money we're saving is, you're talking probably thousands of dollars in savings on this trip. So whether you're a full-timer, you're a weekend warrior, whatever, you can save so much money doing this for such a small membership. Like I said, even if it were to double or triple in cost per year, $50 to $150 a year, that's still cheaper than a lot of one-night resorts. Well worth the money. I cannot recommend them highly enough. And all of these, I'm going to put links down in the description for every app and every website that I'm using here. So you'll definitely want to check down there. Some of them I'm going to have discount codes with, so you can get a little bit of a break even on the membership. So be sure and check those all out down at the bottom. All right, so the second one we're going to talk about here is going to be the Trip Wizard by RV Life. So the RV Life Trip Wizard. This has been an absolute game changer for us. When we first started going into planning our trip, it got absolutely overwhelming trying to figure out maps, and we were trying to do it on Google Map with an Excel spreadsheet to try and keep track of where we were going. And in doing research, we found out about Trip Wizard, and it just was really highly recommended from a lot of other full-time RVers. So we decided reluctantly to go ahead and pay for it and check it out. And we are so glad we did. The features on this are absolutely unbelievable. I'm not going to get into all of them on this video. Alicia's actually got a video going all into what the Trip Wizard can do. I'll go ahead and link to that in the description, so you'll definitely want to check that out. But we're just going to go through a quick rundown of how you can find free spots on RV Trip Wizard. And this is going to be different ones than Boondockers Welcome. So the main focus that we're going to look at here, you can see the map pulled up. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. You can plan out your route. That's what the main focus of this is. So you'll make a trip, pick your destinations, and then what you want to do in order to find the free spots. Now, what we focus on this one is actually your point of interest, and we're looking for overnight parking. What we primarily use this for is if we have good spots, but they're a good distance away from each other, we typically don't like to drive more than 6 hours in a day. If it's anything 6 and above, we typically want to find just a quick overnight spot. We can pull over, We've got access to our main bedroom on the trailer without pulling slides out or anything, so we can just pop into our main room, hop in our bed, sleep, and then get going again in the next morning. Well, we don't want to have to pay for parking overnight, so what you can do is you can go over to the point of interest, and then down here on the point of interest, these are all places that offer overnight parking, usually free overnight parking. So you got your Cracker Barrel, you've got Walmart, Camping World, Bass Pro Shops. And what you can do is you can select those and it'll show them on the map here. When you have your route, you can actually have these pull up based on your route. So you'll look and see where along your route these locations are. For an example here, we're just gonna pull up here. Let's see, we've got Cabela's right here in Billings. So this is a free location we can stay at. It says Pets Welcome, RV can stay there. Now, it doesn't list a dump station here, but I've actually been to this Cabela's before with an RV, our old motorhome that we used to have, and I'm pretty sure there actually is a dump station there, so I don't think this is entirely accurate unless they've changed that. That was about 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, so you can pull these up, you can filter it, you can have it where it just shows these along your route, and what these are going to do is give you your overnight stays to break up your drive so you're not trying to haul too much in one day. There is way more you can do with this. I mean, you can plan out attractions, you can plan out, it's got thousands and thousands of campsites on here too that you can find. And a lot of times we use this kind of in conjunction with Boondockers Welcome. Alicia typically is on this planning out the trip, and she'll find an area where, based on the radius, how far we want to go that day, where we're going to end up, and then she'll look for spots on here, and I'll typically pull up Boondockers Welcome, and we just kind of compare and find the best spot for that, and plan out. Like I said, if we have an overnight thing here, we could just select these, pick whichever overnight spot we want to stay, plan it in, throw it into the trip, and it automatically calculates the time, how long we can get there. You can put everything in here, fuel mileage you're going to take to get there, everything. This one, if we're talking price here, you're looking at $59 a year on this one. Like I said, the features on this are absolutely amazing. So if you're hesitant about this, which you shouldn't be if you're going to be doing anything more than just like a weekend trip here or there, I would say it's probably not worth it if you're just doing an occasional camping. But if you're looking at doing anything more extended, full-time, or even just, a longer camping trip that's going to have a decent amount of driving in it, this is absolutely amazing. If you have any hesitation about it, before you make a decision, I definitely recommend checking out this other video. Like I said, I'll link it down below. See what Alicia has to say about it. The next one we're going to talk about is called the Dyrt, and that's Dyrt with a Y. So the Dyrt, the huge benefit with this one, if you don't mind true boondocking, dry docking, this is an amazing app and website for that. One of the things we love about it is you can add different layers to this, such as BLM and Forest Service. So if you are into dispersed camping, where you just go out onto federal land and you can just park anywhere and camp, this shows you a map of all the BLM and Forest Service areas in each region, so you know where dispersed camping is. You can do a little bit of research, find out if it's allowed in different places. And then it's got your BLM campsites on there as well, and Forest Service campsites, so you can find those. That's one of the huge things about this. If you want to do more boondocking, if you're set up to do boondocking, dry docking, out, self-sustain, and you just want to be away from people, because that's the other thing with all the other ones, with Boondockers Welcome and with RV Trip Planner, a lot of those are main established campgrounds, or you're staying at somebody's house, so you're not really getting any seclusion. So if seclusion is something you're wanting, which I know is a big thing with people camping, the Dyrt is probably the best option for finding places like that. You can get your less used campgrounds. You get your ones with fewer hookups. Like I said, you can get your dispersed camping, so out just parking in the wilderness by yourself and camping under the stars if that's what you're into. So one of the other great features with the Dyrt is their discount program. So if you go under price, there's a box here, it says Pro Discount Campgrounds. And what that is those are campgrounds that have partnered with the Dyrt, and if you're a Dyrt member, you actually get a discount at these locations. So we're going to go ahead and check that. We're in Oregon right now, which is fairly popular with the Dyrt since that's actually where they are from. So we're going to view 20 campgrounds. So these are ones that have partnered with the Dyrt, so you can save a little bit of money on these. So what you want to do is go ahead and click on any one of these, and it's going to take you to their page. And if you look right here, it'll tell you what kind of a discount they offer. Now, it's different for different campgrounds. It's not any sort of a universal thing. The campgrounds, I think, choose whatever they want to offer to Dyrt members. This one here, you're looking at 40% off your first night and 10% off of every other night. And all you have to do, which this is typical with all of them, when you're making your reservation, you have to make sure you have your membership card. So you have to have a pro account. On your card, there's going to be a number in the app. You just present that to them at the time of setting up your reservation, and that'll get you whatever discount it is. So a lot of these you can see up to 40%. Most of them are going to have some sort of a 40% discount. This is pretty typical, 40% the first night, 10% after that. But yeah, it's just another way. I mean, you're looking at down to $10 per night here. So not free, but you can get some heavily discounted. If you are looking at the other methods, Boondockers Welcome isn't finding anything in that area. This is just another one you can hop onto and, see if they have anything in the area that would work for you. All right, and for cost for the Dyrt, so they actually have a free version and a paid version. The free version is going to get you all of the US listings, so you're still going to be able to pull up the BLM, the Forest Service, KOAs, all that. You're not going to be able to get that discounted price on those. It's basically just finding campsites at that point. Then you're not getting any sort of a discount. But if you're needing something to just help you locate campgrounds, it's really quick for locating campgrounds and having prices listed for them. So it is a beneficial app to have and website to use, even just for the planning stage, even if you don't go with the pro version. If you do go with the pro version, you're looking at $29.99 per year, so $40 or $30 a year, excuse me. But if you look at these campgrounds, if you're looking at booking one of these $100 campgrounds and you're getting 40% off that first night, well, one stay and it's already paid for itself. With the pro version, you also get their trip planning. It's not as good as RV Trip Wizard, so I probably wouldn't get it for that. But you do get some really cool features such as offline access to the app, so you can access your maps offline, which is big if you're going to be doing a lot of BLM and Forest Service camping, because there's typically not cell service in a lot of those places. So this downloads the app for you, so it's available offline, so you can find these locations. There is also on the map, which I didn't show you, but you can actually check a box that is whatever your cell service provider is, so you'll know on the map if your cell service provider has service in that area or not. All right, so the last thing we're going to talk about is going to be Recreation.gov. So this is a federal website that lists all sorts of campsites that are federally ran. So this is going to have your BLM, your National Forest Service, National Park Service, as well as your Army Corps of Engineers, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, all those things. So you're going to be able to search for campsites on their website. Now, this is a free website. It's government funded. You're not going to be looking at getting any discounts or anything like that, nothing free, but you can find some really, really cheap campsites on here. I've seen them as low as $5 or $8 a night. So you just go on to Recreation.gov as the website, and then you go into camping and lodging. If you have a specific area you're searching for, you can search there, or you can just kind of take the map and go over to an area, click search this area, and it's going to pull up all sorts of spots in the area. And if you wanted, you could search them by price, and you'll see as low as $20 a night pulling up here. And then there's all sorts of filters you can put on there based on like your RV size and any amenities that you're looking for, stuff like that. So this is going to have a lot of them that are in kind of key areas. A lot of times you can only find resorts at, like the national parks. And if we were to take it down and look at, around Florida Keys area, you see there's some camping down here at the Keys. Most likely tent camping only here. It's just kind of a hit or miss type thing. You search in the area. This is just another thing we do to kind of cover all of our bases when we're searching. We don't want to miss out on some hidden gem of a campground. So this was kind of our throw in one. We've used this a few times, like our camping in Yellowstone we've used. We've got one booked over north of New York, and a few places scattered throughout our trip. We've used Recreation.gov to book. But like I said, this is our kind of our last one because it's typically the most expensive one that we use, even though these are pretty cheap per night. So those are the main sources that we use when finding stuff. RV trip planner, plan out your trip so you know your route real well. Again, watch that other video that Alicia did on that one. You'll get so informed and you'll definitely want to get it before you head out on your trip. Boondockers Welcome, our absolute main source for finding spots. Like I said, about 75% of it is our trip that we have planned is using Boondockers Welcome. Either free nights or very, very cheap, because we do want to go with hookups as much as possible, especially when you get into the hotter areas. You want to be able to have access to that air conditioning. The Dyrt, if you're looking for those BLM for service or discounted rates through them for that pro. And then Recreation.gov, yeah, your free resource from the government for searching for federal campgrounds. So, like I said, links to all of these down below. We've got some discounts for some of these if you sign up using our links down below. And yeah, just want to try and make this as accessible for everyone as possible. Like I said, it was almost a deterrent for us getting on the road when we started just doing some Google search for different areas and seeing all just RV resorts at anywhere from $100 to $200 a night. That's just not feasible to do, rather than if you're just doing a vacation maybe, but full-time living, you know, you got to keep it as cheap as possible to be able to make this an affordable thing to do full-time. So these are our main resources. Check out those links, see if any of these will work for you, and yeah, we'll see you on the road.